this ended up being a rather complicated setup. You can see the aluminium plate here. It was very easy to true up the two sides of the plate here by just literally mounting the plate in the jaws of the vise. Very, very simple. But I did also need to true up the short edges as well, here and at the back. Now I thought what I could possibly do is move the hard jaw that on the fixed jaw to the outside. There are some screw holes on the outside here, the same as you've got here. I've used these to put this little cover to stop swarf going down inside the vise. So it was only a matter of moving that jaw out and mounting it on the outside, and then clamping the piece of aluminium between the two inner faces, so the face here and that face obviously on the outside. And I put a couple of parallels in between to keep everything absolutely level. But it's a problem I encountered, which I've not really encountered before, is that the problem is my milling machine is so small that the bed of the mill in the y-axis doesn't have enough, or didn't have enough travel to cut along the edge here. I just couldn't set it up in any position to give me a cut or a movement in the y-axis that long. So I tried various other methods. I tried mounting a large angle block on the bed of the milling machine here, but I had some problems mounting the metal on it and actually truing the metal up. So another idea I came up with, sitting indoors the other evening, was to use this edge. Let's move that round a bit. Using this edge of the vise to keep the metal square, and it sort of worked out. It made sort of a bit of a complicated setup. I've got underneath the aluminium here, between the sheet of aluminium and the bed of the mill, I've got two 1, 2, 3 blocks mounted underneath this, and then this one jammed between the vise and the edge of the piece of metal. So that's this side is resting on one edge of the 1, 2, 3 block, and then making sure that this is exactly sort of parallel all the way across. And I just mounted it with a couple of hold down clamps. I made some measurements between the vise here and the edge of the metal, just to make sure everything was absolutely square. I have, prior to the cut you saw just now, I did make one cut to true up this edge, and then I used my best engineer's square to check the squareness of the edge, and it's absolutely fine. I mean, for this particular project, it doesn't have to be absolutely square. I just wanted it to be that way, so it sort of worked out. Obviously, there's with these small milling machines, there's got to be lots of different ways of setting things up. I've done some quite complicated setups on this before, but I just wanted to show you, how I actually did that. Now I've got to swing the metal just round the other way and then true up the edge on the other side, and that will give me a plate which is absolutely square all the way around. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit. Just really to show, perhaps in the end, actually quite a simple way of achieving this result. I'm just going to very, very carefully take the camera off of the tripod. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I can show you the angle below. There we are. You can see there the 1, 2, 3 blocks below, just holding it absolutely in place. Rather lucky to have 2 sets of 1, 2, 3 blocks. The one set was given to me by one of my sons quite a few Christmases ago as a present, and another set of these were given to me by one of my viewer subscribers. So very grateful for having 4 1, 2, 3 blocks all in total. Did enable me to do this job quite easily. It just shows how useful these blocks are in achieving setups like this. But anyway, that's basically it from me. There'll be more bits to follow this little sequence. Hello, I'm Nobby Clark, welcome to my workshop. Very cold Sunday morning here. When I came in the workshop it was only just about 6 degrees, so I've got my little fan heater just behind me here on the floor, just trying to keep me warm. If you managed to get through the machining part of the video, you saw me trying to sort of square up the ends of this aluminium plate. I had already machined the long sides here by putting the plate into the mill vise and then machining across the end with an end mill. And I explained then I had the problem of machining the shorter sides. The problem being, if I put that into the mill vise, it would be quite easy to square it up with the machinist square on one side, but the problem with the mini mill, it's so small and doesn't have a lot of movement to it, that in the Z axis there's not enough a distance between the top of the plate here and the collet chuck to get an end mill in. The gap I was left with is only tiny, it's only about an inch. So, and the other problem of course would have been with this amount of stick out here, obviously I could clamp some big parallels in here as well, but there would be a lot of vibration as well. So I showed that I had to find another way of getting around it, and the problem of mounting it in the vise by moving one of the hard jaws out to the back of the fixture of the machine vise, and clamping that in here, I didn't have enough wire movement to be able to machine right the way across here. I tried all different ways of doing this, but there just isn't enough travel. I did encounter this problem some time back when I made my finger plate, but the plate was I think just about 3 inches square, and there was just about enough movement in the y-axis to machine all around that particular plate. This piece is actually 3.5 inches wide, and it's 6 1/8 inches long. But it worked in the end. I've got a nice accurate parallel measurement along here within about 1/1000th, and once I'd machined the ends, that they are nicely square. As I explained, it didn't really have to be that accurate, but I thought if I can get it as accurate as possible, it's much more pleasing to do that basically. Now the surfaces of this I'm not going to machine. This is quite hard. I don't know what this aluminium is. It's it seems to be sort of fairly hard grade of aluminium, and it originally must have had a very good surface to it. it may be some sort of fixture plate or tooling aluminium. I'm not really sure. This was a larger piece of aluminium, which is if you like, a found item. And the what will be the top here is quite nice and smooth. The underside has some little marks on it, but what I'm going to do is gently perhaps stone the surface. I don't own precision stones. It would be lovely to have a set of these, but they probably would be way beyond an amateur machinist like myself remit to own anything like that. But anyway, what I'm actually making here, you probably guessed already, I'm making a fixture plate. I'm doing some research into how other people have made fixture plates. They seem to have lots of different other descriptions. They're also called mini pallets in the very small ones, or a tooling plate. And what I intend doing is working out a hole pattern on this. I'm going to have a mixture of tapped holes and plain holes. The plain ones, I'm going to use 5mm dowel pins, so that you've got something to put material up against to hold it in position while you clamp it down. I'm going for 5mm because 5mm is the tapping drill size for 6mm thread, and I'm going to use 6mm studding in this, because in my hold down sets, one of them is based on 6mm threads, the other one is 6 and 8mm. I don't think I need it as big as 8mm, but 6mm would be fine, because it's only going to really be for sort of clamping down fairly small items. And I have a project hopefully coming up in the new year, if all goes well, where this is going to be very useful for some of the machining processes. So basically it's just going to be to make sure there's the plate is perfectly flat on both sides, and then I can either clamp this directly to the mill table, or mount it onto blocks, or 1, 2, 3 blocks, or whatever, to hold it in position. Then the edges sort of give me a means of clocking it in as well. Nothing much sort of more to tell you. I did try other methods of setting this up. As I explained, although I didn't show this, I did try using my box angle plate, clamping this to the mill table, and then mounting the plate on the, well, it would have been that way around, on the top of the plate, and then clamping it down on each side. But the difficulty I found was, because of the clamps on each side, was being able to sort of clock it in. I just found it was a bit frustrating, and I couldn't get it absolutely square to the machine. I think if I'd have persevered with it, I would have done that in the end. But working sort of late into the afternoon and getting freezing cold the other day trying to do it, I went back indoors and had another think about it, and came up with the idea that I actually showed you in the milling sequence. I did go round the plate here with a micrometer, just to sort of measure the material all round, and it's about 400 thousandths in thickness, and it seems to be a constant measurement all the way round the plate here. So I'm quite happy not to do anything more to it. You know, the other option, I'm guessing, would have been to go over this with a fly cutter, but at the end of the day, this is also going to be a sort of a sacrificial piece of material as well for various other projects that come along. if I get some marks in it, and then obviously at that stage I could just go over it with a fly cutter and clean the surface up again. Then I hope you found the little machining bit of interest. I quite enjoyed doing. I think a lot of the fun of making things in the workshop, it is solving problems and sort of finding answers to how you can do things. And this is something I've had to do with the milling machine so many times. You know, it'd be great to have a much bigger milling machine with a lot more travel on the bed, but that's not something that I think now is going to happen anyway. I think I'll just work the best I can with the machine I've got. Also, of course, it's the size of a bigger machine would be finding a place to sort of fit it in the workshop as well. I use this micrometer. It's one I only bought recently. I'm very fond of Mrs. Toyu micrometers, and I was looking through eBay and came across this one. It's different to the other ones I have. This is a 0 to 1, which I already have a later version. This is, I think, quite an early one, but I put a bid in for this, and I appear to be the only person that did bid on it. And I think at the end this cost me less than £10. I think I've got a bit of an obsession for micrometers. I have quite a lot of them now, but I thought this was so nice. Then unusually this one came in it's a bit crushed, but it came in a metal box. I think this is probably, you know, sort of a genuine box. All the other ones I have are in like grey plastic, you know, sort of cream coloured plastic boxes. It's got all sorts of test labels and things on it, but I think that was quite nice actually. And this one different to the other one. This is a ratchet type as well. This was quite nice. In my last video I showed that the lathe stock that I made for the Myford lathe, and I was very lucky to be given a really nice Starrett thimble for it. This is made by Starrett in the UK, made in their factory in Scotland. And I thought it'd be quite a nice idea to make another one of these for my Chinese mini lathe. So again, I had a search through eBay to see if I could find another thimble, and I found this one. This is a Moore and Wright, not in as nice condition as the Starrett one, but not bad. I've given it a clean up. Everything functions on it perfectly. Ratchet's fine. So I'm at some point going to make another block like this. Obviously it'll be a little bit more complicated for the Chinese mini lathe, because that one has on one side of the top of the ways has a prism on one side, so it will require having a prism shape sort of cut into it here. And I have cut the prism shape for the tailstock support, and I did actually quite a long time ago make a carriage stop for the Chinese mini lathe. I wasn't very pleased with it, so that was dedicated to the failure bin. But I'm going to have another go at making one for this. I've already measured up the part here, and I've done as I did with the other one, a test drilling to find a drill that would give me a sort of a perfect fit. And this that fits sort of nicely in there. It hasn't got to be in there really tight, as long as it's a nice sliding fit. The end of this is 3/8. So I've got a a really nice new 3/8 drill that I can drill the hole in it to hold that in place. So perhaps sometime in the future when I get round to making it, I'll show you that as well. I hope you enjoyed this little video, rather strange I suppose, bit of a mixture, and I hope you also like my new background. I used to have a piece of MDF board propped up here just to cover up the cabinet behind it, but I was thinking the other day we have some roller blinds in the house up against some of our windows, and I thought, well, actually that is a great idea. If I could find one in just a plain colour, that would make quite a nice background, and of course I can just roll it up out of the way when it's not in use, and it makes sort of quite a nice professional background for my videos. Anyway, thanks for joining me in the workshop again today, and thanks also to the many subscribers to the channel and all the nice comments I'm getting as well. Anyway, thank you very much, and bye bye for now.